Well, welcome back to Stab the Dragon Productions, episode number, I don't know, 133, maybe, as we start back on the Texas Rye Whiskey Tournament, bracket number 2, match number 6. Tonight, we've got Acre Texas Rye Rum Cask versus Milam Greene, finished in a port wine cask. Port wine versus rum in the Rye Whiskey Tournament. Just the facts. This Acre Texas Rye Rum Cask is a single barrel expression from Acre Distillery here in Fort Worth, about 12 minutes from my house. It's 100 proof. This 750 milliliter bottle cost about $48, but at the distillery only. It is not available in stores, and it's a one-time thing as a single barrel. Although as good as this is, I really hope they do that one again. So it's just not available out there. And $48 was a good price for that one because a lot of their other special releases at the distillery are in the $70, $75 range. So I was really happy to get this one at $48. Last time in bracket 1 of this tournament, it faced off against Giant Texas Rye and won, but it lost in the second round. Milam Greene. This is MGP rye from Indiana, brought to Texas, and then aged in port wine casks in Texas. So that's interesting because MGP is like the rye experts of the country. But then to take it here to Texas and age it here, that does things to whiskey. At Total Wine, this 750 milliliter bottle is $47.99. At Specs, $48.31, and Goody Goody, $48.59. So this is a widely marketed bottle by Milam Greene, and they've won some awards. I mean, you know, they've got a reputation now for sure. So those are the two. Well, let's see. In the first bracket, it faced off against Still Austin Rye and lost in that first round. All right. So let's look at these bottles and compare them. So in this tournament, what I'm looking at is which whiskey would I drink 3 out of 5 times? If I had these two whiskeys offered to me and said, okay, you can only have one, which one would I drink 3 out of 5 times? Because both of these are great, okay? There's not any losers here. But I might have a preference for one over the other, and that's what I want to see in this tournament. Now, the first bracket, I was looking for just a straight, neat, clean rye flavor. But what that does in Texas, there's two kinds of ryes. You got those that are aged in a climate-controlled situation, and those that are exposed to the elements of Texas. And you get two widely different end products there. And so I call it the Texas funk with those aged in climate whiskeys, because it has so much interaction with the barrel that you get a really strong barrel char going on with that whiskey. And whereas if it's aged in a climate controlled warehouse, you don't get that. So I like both varieties. So we'll see this time. You know, the only rule is which one do I prefer the most. So let's look at the appearance of these. The Acre bottle is really pretty plain. I mean, they've got some nice labeling going on there, but it's nothing fancy, right? Whereas the Milam Greene, you've got a fancy schmancy bottle and very attractive label. So just as far as the bottle goes, you have M&G embossed there on the glass of the bottle. So really just on bottle style alone, I'm going to prefer that Milam Greene. But let's look at the whiskeys and see if we can determine which one's darker. And I really can't. I mean, let me turn that a little bit better. They both look about equal as far as the color, but you'll notice how dark they are when I hold the glasses up here. See, now that's some Texas whiskey. Now this one on my right in the glass looks just a shade, half a shade lighter than the one on my left. And so just going off of visual, I'm going to think this one on my right is the MGP stuff of Milam Greene, but I might be wrong, so I don't know. One on my left here, I think that's Acre. Now, Acre on the bottom of the glass is going to have a number 1, and Milam Greene will have the number 2. I mixed these up pretty thoroughly, so I'm not sure which is which, but I'm going with the darker one being Acre. And I prefer darker whiskeys just as an aesthetic thing. I don't know. I mean, that's just me. All right, so let's go to the nosing. I'll start on my left. Usually I get kind of a whiskey smell. Underneath that I get some sweetness. A little bit of grassiness maybe. You know, this is a rye, but if this is the Acre, it's aged in rum. So I'm getting a little bit of sweetness there, but really not a strong rye flavor. So let's nose the one on my right. This one doesn't have as much of a nose. Just vague sweetness, but neither one is putting out a Texas funk that I can tell on the nose. But I'm going to say this one on my left, the darker one, that wins the nose. It's definitely got more flavors coming on the nose. All right, so it's time to taste. Left to right. Here we go. It definitely has some of the Texas funk. It's not overpowering. It's got a sweetness. Again, I'm really not getting much of a rye flavor there at all. But that sweetness, I'm going to say that's the Acre. I think that's the Acre rum finished. So if you see a number 1 under there, that's what I'm thinking. Now that's good all day long. But again, the difference is between the aging and the climate, that barrel char, and the rum cask finish on there, that obscures a lot of the rye flavor. So this is very good though. I mean, this is really fantastic. So I'm going to clean my palate with the Topo Chico. Okay, let's move on to the one on my right, which I now think is Milam Greene. So this one's finished in port casks. So we shall see. Still can't really smell it. Definitely getting some fruitiness there. So I think that's the Milam Greene. I'm getting the port. It's not as sweet as the other one, as the Acre. So there should be a number 2 under here, but again, I'm not really getting much rye flavor. Maybe a little bit more rye flavor than the other one, but I'm getting a little bit of Texas funk, not overwhelming. And that's good all day long. Wow. How do you decide which one you like the best when they're both that good? Mouthfeel is about the same on these. They are both 100 proof, I think. Let me see. No, Milam Greene is 94. That's a 94 proof, and the Acre's 100 proof. Let me try this one more time. So the Acre's got a proof advantage. This definitely has more of the Texas funk. And it's got the sweetness of the rum. Milam Greene. A little bit more of the rye, a little bit less of the Texas funk. I mean, just barely a hint of the Texas funk, and the fruitiness of the port. This is going to be pretty tough, but I think I'm going to go with the Acre as the winner because of the Texas funk. I mean, I'm just a big fan of that barrel note there. You add the sweetness of the rum and just a hint of the rye. That and this says on the bottle, it's aged 3 years in charred white oak, finished an additional year in Acre rum barrel. So that's 4 years. Milam Greene. I'm not sure of the age statement here. I'm not sure, but both of these are excellent, but I'm going to go with Acre for the win. Definitely. I mean, it was close. But see, when you toss in, price-wise, they're all about the same, right? They're all in that $48 range, both of them. But when you toss in availability, see, the Milam Greene is available at all the liquor stores. Goody Goody, Specs, Total Wine. Whereas Acre, I'm here local. I can get it at the distillery when they have it. Okay, it's a single barrel. So what do you do? But I'm going strictly off of which one do I like, which is the best flavor, and so Acre wins. All right, well let's see if I was correct. Is this Acre? Yep, this is number one. I mean, I was sure of it. That's number one. This is number two, so that's Milam Greene. All right, well that does it for tonight. Next time, whenever that'll be, Texas Giant Rye versus Balcones, 2 100 proof rye whiskeys. So that'll be it for now. This is Stab the Dragon out here.